Ever make a $100,000 mistake? Recently moved to shipping for ink making company. While unloading a dark trailer, I punctured a 1,000 tote of water-based ink. The entire thing emptied in a matter of seconds. The entire trailer, dock door, and outside was turned blue. Even now it's water-based, it still had water pollutants in it, so EPA had to be called in due to it getting into the sewer. The specialty company that was called in to clean up has spent the last 3 weeks digging up the sewer and surrounding ground that had been contaminated. A few days of heavy rain has not helped the cleanup at all. Needless to say, I had a nervous breakdown and missed a days of work. Got a call asking if I quitting, which would possibly lead to criminal charges. Don't know if that's possible, but I know I can fire back for not having dock lights and shitty fork trucks with dim headlights. Being close to 3 weeks out, I can finally think back and sorta laugh at this situation. I have made a 70,000s mistake by leaving some cloud servers running over a long weekend. Literally just because I forgot to hit an off button. I was a railroad conductor and derailed the road engines in one of the busiest rail yards on the East Coast. Blocked two main lines and clogged up the yard for 11 hours. Cost the R3 and $1 million. I scoff at your amateur level mistake. I knocked over an entire shelf of military aircraft avionics with a forklift. They were not too keen on revealing the total damage amount, but $3 and $1 million would have been my lowball estimate. Just the FLIR had to cost that much. My company commander literally ripped my military driver's license into tiny pieces in front of the entire company. Did you get fired? Nah. The union went to bat for me. I got a week vacation as punishment. My first time working at 17, I dropped pizza on the mayor's lap when he came to the restaurant. Flashback of horror. Thank you. I once kicked a soccer ball across a park and it leveled a toddler. He went full horizontal, then started falling to the ground. I think because the ball was on its way up, not down. I died inside. His mom stared daggers at me in a way I don't think I will ever forget. Also, my biggest corporate blunder was a bid estimate for a heavy civil construction project. I forgot the text on one of the line items. 30 grand. I was working as a waiter in a fine dining restaurant. First week of work. I'm trying to get wine stains off of a huge wooden slab communal table, like 18 foot long. I take a steel Brillo pad to the stains using all my strength. Didn't realize how badly I fucked up the table till I saw my boss freak out the next day. Lol. Another time at the same restaurant, I dropped a drink on a customer. Cute girl in a beautiful outfit. I felt absolutely mortified. We get chewed out for making the tiniest mistakes here, and I do this. 1 week later, I fucking do it again. I worked as a waiter for years and never have dropped food, let alone on a customer. And I managed to do it for the first time twice in 1 week. I am absolutely horrified. I actually went and stood in the corner with my head down for 5 minutes. Neither of the customers were angry. We give such good service that the customers are usually in an amazing mood anyway and blown away by the food and the service. I actually didn't get chewed out at all for dropping those drinks. I don't think my boss actually said a word either time. One time I broke a 250,000 glass sculpture with my ass while mopping my gallery. It was fine and I didn't get fired. My punishment was I had to be the one to tell the artist. My boss loved telling the story after the fact. I wanted to die. Note you can brag you have a $250,000 ass. Worked at a Wall Street bank a few years ago in systems. There was a project to modernize some database functions to Oracle 10G. I won't go into details or specifics, but the project ended up costing $10 million, and at the end it didn't even do what they wanted it to do and basically wasted all the money. Man resources and long contract with Oracle. They fired the entire team into SVPC that managed the teams. Good times! Long ago, I was playing Soul Calibur with a buddy who I worked with at the local marina. His big brother was our manager. About 11 p.m. big brother walks in and says, "Little brother, you sank customer's boat." We nervous chuckled, and big brother clarified, "You sank customer's boat at the dock and I have been working on recovering it for 5 hours." He had forgotten to put the plug in and launched a boat for a customer to pick up, tied it to the dock, and left to do stage crew for our high school drama club, which we also did together. So ever since, I judge most of my mistakes by boat sank. So far Mex is like 0 point to boats. Maybe. So I am doing good. I work in the oil industry. Lol, every screw up is 100,000s. I work for a very reputable, custom, window and door company. We were supposed to order 1x quantity of this door, and due to an error in their system, turn the door count to 12x. The error in the system, apparently, was whoever ordering said product was not using the tab key to tab through each box and were not using the arrow keys. They expect us to not use the keyboard, and that was the error. Turned from a 12,000s order to a 100,000s plus order very fast, and no one caught it. I shredded a stock transfer form worth $250,000. I know a guy who left the water on filling a pool downtown. It got in the elevator shaft around 15 years ago. Was somewhere between 500 and 1,000K, accounting for all the electrical and water damage and not adjusting for inflation. Oh wow. Was not me that did it. I was an electrician in an ice cream factory. But someone connected the vat for the strawberry juice instead of the strawberry preserves for a full run on one of the popsicle lines. While it still would have been an edible product, it was unsellable since it didn't meet product standards. Would have been missing the whole chunk fruit, etc. Once they started the run, it had to be finished. Could not change it halfway through, so I watched them literally take hopper after hopper after hopper after hopper of popsicles to the trash room and melt them right down the drain. 350,000's worth of popsicles because someone connected the wrong hose. Needless to say, management was not happy. Oh wow. Never found out who did it, or if they still work there. Shit happens. I know a guy that made a 100,000's mistake at work. Oil company! We used to manage the tank farm. Dude opens the wrong valves and sends incompatible product to I think a 100,000 gallon tank, ruining both the shit in the tank already and the new shit getting pumped in. It was something like motor oil mixed with gear oil or something. It all had to be properly disposed of and the tank completely cleaned, which costs a ton. As a matter of fact, I have lol. Shit happens. I work for Coke as a syrup batcher. One day I was making a batch of Coke. Since it's our biggest seller and we bottle can in all formats, we make really large batches of it. The concentrate is the most expensive part and comes in huge 50-gallon drums which get transferred via an air pressure system, basically forcing it to siphon into a mixing tank. And then finally the main holding tank. Well, I didn't realize that cleaning guy who sterilizes the equipment had left a drain valve open, which normally is always closed. So when I hooked up the flavor drums to transfer into the mixed tank, it all went directly down the drain instead. About 80,000's worth. The company wrote it off and I didn't get into any major trouble. But within a couple days we had new SOPs written up to follow for every single batch going forward and extra paperwork and sign-off points. My coworkers were not too thrilled about that, but it's never happened again since. While training a new warehouse worker on his first day after school and forklift certification, I told him to pick a pallet and check on the computer where it should go. He picked the first pallet. That was quite high, so it should go to the highest position 10 meters up. He lifted correctly. Look at the cameras. Place it correctly and start to back his forklift, while starting to lower the forks before they are completely free. The effect of this is that the ends of the forks hit the beam under and point a little bit up, enough to drag the pallet enough that it falls down. I take a breath and say with a smile, "Great. Now I can show you how to write an incident report." The material on the pallet, a single server computer, ready to just plug in and start up for the customer. Cost about $150,000. That guy was so nervous that he called in sick that day after lunch, but came back later in the week. I had a talk, and after that, water under the bridge. That autumn he started higher education, but came back the next summer and free time after that. He became a really good worker. One time I was driving a radio broadcast trailer out of a car lot. I was the DJ and driver, always rushing. I forgot to lower the antenna and pulled into the power lines. The mess melted in half. The power line fell to the ground, arching every. It started a fire and burned a big banner. I have no idea how much it cost. I didn't get fired. I was pulled as a driver, but eventually I ended up driving again. It was a small family-owned radio station. It was a shitty place to work and they didn't treat their staff well. In retrospect, I am glad that happened and I hope it cost them a lot. So don't feel too bad. Thanks for watching. Share your story in a comment.